Skull Rock Podcast is brought to you by the generosity of the following companies. The Old Mill Press, publishing beautifully crafted books that illuminate our world. To learn more, visit theoldmillpress.com. And by listeners like you.
Hi, I'm Director Kevin Lima, and you're listening to the Skull Rock Podcast.
Aye, mateys, remember this as the day you sailed with the Skull Rock Podcast. Proceed at your own risk, and mark well me words, mateys. Dead men tell no tale.
Welcome back to Skull Rock Podcast, the show about all things Disney and pop culture. Every week we take you behind the scenes of some of your favorite Disney films, theme park attractions, performances, books, music, as well as what's streaming and what's playing in the cinema. Anyway, my name's Aljon, musician and longtime Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and pop culturist. And you can email me, Aljon, A-L-J-O-N, at skullrockpodcast.com.
And I'm Dave Bossert, artist, filmmaker, author, and certified box cutter. Welcome to the Skull Rock Podcast. If you love Disney and pop culture, please subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also like and follow us on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, LinkedIn, and on our very own Skull Rock YouTube channel. You can also email me at dave@skullrockpodcast.com. Aljon, I can't believe it. We're coming to the end of the Bill Kroyer month here at the Skull Rock Podcast.
Whoa, I can't believe it, Dave. I can't believe it.
I know. We're dropping part 6 with Bill. We're wrapping it all up. I think it's been an incredible interview, and there's been a lot of great feedback on our social media channels, people just saying great episodes and so on and so forth. I just think he was a terrific interview and had some very sage advice, especially in this last episode.
Man, we are, I'm just loving it. And I love the fact that we're doing these deep dives with these filmmakers. It's just amazing to hear and sit under their learning tree, if you will. So it's really cool stuff. I love these stories.
Yeah. And you know something, I think we like to pride ourselves on the fact that we do a deep dive into people's careers and ask the questions that we think our listeners want us to ask. I'm just a curious person, so I'm always asking questions. So I'm looking forward to that. And we've got a busy year ahead of us already.
Oh,
Aljon.
certainly.
It's crazy. I want to give our listeners a heads up. Next week, we're going to put a vault show up because Aljon's going to be out of town. You're going to be out of town, right?
Oh, yeah.
And, and there's going to be some spottiness through the fall of some of the things that you and I have to do in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. But the good news is, Dave, is that we have so much great content out there for everybody. And it's wonderful. So we'll keep the interviews coming. And for those newer to the podcast, we want to refresh your memory on or just introduce you to some of our classic content, which is still great, which is awesome. So be on the lookout for that. And then also want to do a shout out for our Patreon fans, our Patreon crew, the crew of the Skull Rock ship. If you want to listen to these podcasts ad free, go to Patreon. You know, we do our drops and our travel deals and stuff like that. But if you listen to the Patreon feed, you get no ads that are inserted by Spotify or Apple Tunes or whatever else is out there. So keep that in mind. That's a great way to keep this show going. So just wanted to put that little shout out there.
I think that's awesome. That's great. Let's roll.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think probably over the course of the next few months too, we'll probably put some more special content on this feed in regards to some of our earlier standalone interviews. So we'll do that here too. that's coming up. Riverside makes that happen. I tell you, I love this AI tool that we're using to record this podcast. So shout out to Riverside. And if you have a podcast, I also want to say, just click our link to Riverside. It'll also help our show out. So,
Aljon, I do want to let our listeners know, though, that we have interviews right now that take us into February of next year, and we're recording more, folks, as we go along here. It's amazing to me, and I don't think we've tooted our own horn enough, that we're over 250 episodes now.
Oh my goodness.
Which is fantastic.
Yes.
But also next week is our 5-year anniversary. Is that unbelievable?
I can't believe it. Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's just unreal. We started this kind of on a whim during the pandemic, when everything was shut down.
Yeah.
And here we are 5 years later. We have a huge listening audience, a global listening audience. I mean, we have gotten emails and comments from people all over Europe and Taiwan, Japan, Australia, Africa.
Yeah.
I think we're reaching all the continents right now. We haven't gotten an email from anybody in Antarctica. That's the only that's the only continent that we haven't heard from. So if you're down in Antarctica, send us a note. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
100%. I can't believe it's been 5 years, Dave. I mean, and so, gang, let's back the truck up, because we won't be able to do it next week on the Vault Show because Dave and I won't be together. We'll have a show up, but we won't be in the same space virtually, which is funny to say. But I just adopted our kids. I literally just adopted our kids when we started this podcast, Dave.
That's right.
I mean,
and by the way, when we started this podcast, you had not adopted the kids. You were fostering them.
Yeah,
we
were fostering them. Yeah, we were foster parents. So you and I were in talks as we started the fostering classes after you came onto our old podcast, Disney List, and then we went ahead and literally we started the show, and we just got the call. It was Halloween. Yeah, it was Halloween. And I got the call, and the week right before Halloween. So we celebrated our first week as a foster family for Halloween. It's amazing. And then, and then here we are later, man. The kids are off to school, and here we are still doing the show, Dave. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and it's as fresh as ever.
I love it. Like I said, Dave, man, I love coming together with you every single time we record, and to be a fly on the wall with some of these conversations with these filmmakers and Imagineers has been absolutely amazing. So, man, I can't tell you how awesome it is to be part of this experience. So especially as a Disney fan, to talk to you every week, but also all of our guests. So it's really cool.
It's been a lot of fun. I enjoy doing it. If I didn't, we wouldn't be doing it. You know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I mean, we have a ball every week doing this show, and we hope our listeners enjoy it.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear more from you guys. So send us notes. Tell us where you're from, where you're listening from.
Absolutely.
And we're going to just continue to keep getting great people on to talk about their careers and talk about the industry and to talk about, pop culture. So
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into the news and our big interview of the week with Bill Kroyer, let's go into what we've been checking out this week. The projector is sounding. Dave, you're getting back into the groove and watching some stuff.
Yes, I am starting to get back in the groove. I did not go to the movies this past week, but I did watch a couple of shows. One of which is called it's called English Teacher. I was almost going to say The English Teacher, but it's just English Teacher.
Got it.
And it's on Hulu. There's 2 seasons of it. I'm going to tell you, this is an absolutely hilarious show.
Mm.
Absolutely hilarious. I discovered this. The series started last year in 2024. It's about Evan Marquez, is an English teacher in Austin, Texas, who often finds himself at the intersection of the personal, professional, and political aspects of working at a high school. This is for mature audiences. I'm going to tell everybody, do not watch this with children.
Okay, good.
And it stars Brian Jordan Alvarez, who is one of the creators, writers. He's directed episodes of this comedy. He plays Evan Marquez, the English teacher, and it is just this great cast. It's an ensemble cast of characters, and I think that if you give this a chance, you're going to find it to be very, very funny. Aside from Brian Jordan Alvarez, there's Stephanie Koenig, who plays a colleague teacher, Sean Patton, who plays the gym teacher. Carmen Christopher is hilarious, who's another teacher at the school, and Enrico Enrico Colantoni is a familiar face, by the way. You once you see him, you go, oh, I've seen him in a ton of stuff. He's fantastic as the principal. There's a wonderful cast of students in Evan Marquez's English class. Love this show. I've been laughing out loud. It's smartly written. Again, it is for mature audiences. Do not watch this with your children. I also caught up on season, let's see, I guess they're on season 2 of High Potential. And that stars Caitlin Olsen as Morgan. Daniel Sunjata is Detective Karadek. And this is, Morgan, a single mom with 3 kids and an exceptional mind, helps solve an unsolvable crime when she rearranges some evidence during her shift as a cleaner for the police department. When they discover she has a knack for putting things in order because of her high intellectual potential, she is brought on as a consultant to work with the by-the-book seasoned Detective Karadek. Together, they form an unusual and unstoppable team. This is just a fun show. Again, on Hulu, it's an ABC show. I watch it on Hulu without commercials, so I'm enjoying that. I did watch season 1, so now they're on season 2.
Oh,
and then finally...
before you get into that, Dave,
yeah.
I watch High Potential too. It's fun.
Yeah, it's a great show. It's just an enjoyable show. I think Caitlin Olsen is terrific. She's also, isn't she in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I think so. Yeah, she is. She is just a lot of fun. Yes, she's in Always Sunny, and she is. I think the quirkiness of the show. It's very much like Lucifer. If you enjoyed Lucifer. Like I that's the kind of humor you'll like the show a lot. It's quirky, and I think she is a gem. She's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. And then finally, I watched the first episode for season 3 of Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone, Dana Delaney, and a whole cast of mafioso characters. New York Mafia capo Dwight the General Manfredi is released from prison after 25 years and exiled by his boss to set up shop in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Realizing that the mob family may not have his best interests in mind, Dwight slowly builds a crew. So this is just a continuation. There's a great set of characters here. I'm really enjoying it. And Tulsa King is a Taylor Sheridan show. Who's on a hot streak right now. If you know Taylor Sheridan from Yellowstone and the various, he's also done Landman with Billy Bob Thornton. He's got some great shows on Paramount Plus, and that's where I'm watching. Tulsa King is on Paramount Plus. Aljon, that's all I watched this week. What have you been watching?
Well, I tell you what, that's good stuff. Paramount Plus has got some great shows, man.
Oh yeah,
Really got some great shows. So I was on the Disney Plus list of things this week. Let's go to Marvel Zombies. You know, big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Marvel Animation coming out with another banger. After the Avengers are overtaken by a zombie plague, a group of survivors discover the key to bringing an end to the superpowered undead, racing across the dystopian landscape and risking their lives to save the world. It's gruesome. It's fun. There is a bunch of great voice actors who, by the way, are reprising their role from the MCU. You've got Iman Vellani, who plays Kamala Khan for several episodes, which is really nice. You've got, let's see who else is coming in. Kerry Walgren, who's like also just an amazing voice actor as well, is in it. Fred Tatasciore, people know Matthew Wood. Awkwafina as Katie Chen. David Harbour's coming back as Alexei. Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff for several episodes. Paul Rudd, Randall Park. I mean, it's an all-star list. And if you enjoyed Marvel Zombies, for those of you that don't know, this is actually an adaptation of a comic book arc that actually happened, but they do their own MCU style twist in it. And of course, since it is Marvel Animation, it's canon, so it's part of the multiverse saga. So really good stuff there. Great animation. It's got that nice cel shaded action that you saw in the previous Marvel animated series, What If. So if you like that animation style, you'll totally dig it. Marvel Zombies on Disney Plus streaming. Also, just watching Wednesday. And can I tell you how much I love the Wednesday cast? Just so entertaining. I'm not even going to read the boilerplate. You know, Wednesday's great.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm just going to interject here because I was kind of out a lot, but I have watched all of season 2 of Wednesday, and it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's so good.
It's just so good.
Jenna Ortega is great, and Emma Myers is Enid Sinclair. They're just amazing chemistry between the two. It's like rainbow unicorns with Enid, and of course, it's always drab and melancholy when it comes to Wednesday. And of course, the entire cast. I mean, what a well-rounded cast. And to see Christopher Lloyd in there as a professor, kind of in his little tank, it's just amusing.
You know,
to me.
it's pure Tim Burton vision. You know, and,
wonderful,
and it's wonderful to watch. It's wonderful to see him so active right now with this show. It really is fantastic.
I want to see this on the big screen, Dave. I want to see a full movie arc. They've got to make it happen. It's so good.
You know, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'd love to see them do a feature and have it released to theaters.
100%. All right, the Trainwreck series on Netflix, also like Wednesday, is on Netflix. And people were fascinated about this story, Dave. It's Trainwreck Balloon Boy. And maybe people remember back in the early 2000s, 2009-ish, a father claims his son is trapped in a runaway homemade balloon. News helicopters follow the chase live, and the empty balloon lands, sparking outrage as the story becomes one of America's most infamous hoaxes. This happened on October 15th of 2009, as a father in Fort Collins, Colorado, calls 911, claiming that his homemade flying saucer escaped from the backyard carrying his 6-year-old son. Dave, do you remember this story?
I vaguely remember this story. Didn't they arrest the guy?
They arrest the guy. Look, this the Trainwreck series is full of twists and turns. This particular one certainly does. It is great. They talk to everybody. They talk to the boy. He's all grown up. He doesn't have that goofy look on his face, although, you know, whatever. I mean, you couldn't write this stuff. You know what I mean? When they say that facts are stranger than fiction, check out Trainwreck Balloon Boy. You won't believe it. It is certainly crazy. It's got 5 out of 5 on IMDb. I'll certainly give it a nice 6 because once again, it's so strange. They have interviews with the entire family, and once again, easy watch. I mean, some of these train wreck series are multiple parts. This one's an easy watch. It comes down to about 45 minutes of a watch. So go out there if you remember this. I remember, just like you, Dave, my wife was like, I kind of remember this, but I covered this when I was on the radio. For those of you that don't remember, I actually was on FM radio for a number of years, and I did cover this on the radio, and it was just, once again, the strangest crap I ever talked about on the radio. Balloon Boy. And just like Dave, I did also watch High Potential, just a great fun show as well. So, gang, we just wrapped up what we've been watching, what our picks are. I definitely suggest you go out there and check some of these shows out. And if you have something you'd like for us to check out, please feel free to drop us an email and we'll review it in an upcoming episode.
Skull Rock Podcast. This week in Disney and pop culture.
All right, Dave, box office news. Can you believe it, Dave? Here we are once again, and one battle after another earns $8.8 million, Dave, eyeing a $21 million weekend. Universal's kid offering of Gabby's Dollhouse, which my kids love, is looking to get the number 2 spot this weekend. Dave, what say you about this box office news?
Well, it seems like a soft, slow weekend. I had a friend of mine send me a note about one battle after another saying it was long and boring.
Oh, no, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, of course, is another vehicle for him on Paul Anderson's latest film. Yeah, I think this is the calm before the storm, if you will, for the holiday season. This is usually the lull after the summer box office happens. But anyway.
And by the way, Paul Anderson, you may know him from Licorice Pizza. He did Licorice Pizza a few years back, and this is like his first big budget movie. This movie had like $130 million budget.
There you go. So there it is. We've got, let's see here, the streaming stats, if you want to take a look at it. And by the way, TV news, it looks like due to some blackouts, they recently restored Jimmy Kimmel's show after a very, very kind of tumultuous couple of weeks for the Jimmy Kimmel show being removed from a lot of the ABC affiliates. We talked about that last week, but it looks like they went ahead and reinstated the show in a lot of those markets.
Because it was when ABC brought him back, right?
Hmm?
It was one of the highest watched. His monologue hit record numbers on YouTube.
Of course.
For Jimmy Kimmel. It's all about the money. The more people that are watching the show, the more the network can charge for advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And, for Sinclair and Nexstar to have their affiliates not running the show, they were losing money. So, again, it's all about the money, Aljon.
Sure. Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with free speech.
Absolutely not. It's always about money. It's always about money.
Yeah.
Let's see. And let's talk about the most viewed streaming series this week. Of course, K-pop Demon Hunters, Dave. I mean, it is on a tear right now on Netflix. Thursday Night Murder Club. Netflix has got pretty much dominated the top 5. My Life with the Walter Boys. Katrina, Come Hell or High Water, a great documentary. Wednesday, of course, wrapping the top 5. Disney Plus, back with Bluey. Paramount Plus with SpongeBob. Of course, the kid content is king. The Summer I Turned Pretty on Prime. Thunderbolts is out on Disney Plus. And then Extant on Paramount and Netflix. Dave.
The Demon Slayer, I read a brief article about that film and the fact that the CEO of Crunchyroll, the house, the studio that's made it,
that's right,
basically saying that anime is now mainstream. It's made it. It's in the spotlight, and because of this film. And so if you're an anime fan, go out and see it. I have not seen this, but again, there's just a lot of buzz going on with anime.
Absolutely. Hollywood Reporter, also with anime, a lot of buzz was actually Dancing with the Stars, Dave, a 34th edition. Can you believe 34 seasons strong? Dancing with the Stars on ABC jumped to 8.3 million or 1.13 million and saw the elimination of Corey Feldman, if I'm not mistaken, this week. So good for Corey. Just another thing I'm not even going to mention that. I don't know, Dave, if you've seen the video of Corey Feldman touring with Limp Bizkit. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
Don't worry.
Am I not missing anything?
It's a train wreck because Corey tries his best with his band and playing guitar with his band, and I appreciate it for what it is. Okay, it's performance art. Corey Feldman. If you go in looking for musicianship, you've went to the wrong place. Because Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit and I feel the same way about Corey Feldman. It's a show. It's a show you have to behold. So anyway, so good for him on Dancing with the Stars.
Right.
Here we go, Dave. Mandalorian and Grogu trailer was released this week. Broke the internet. It looks absolutely stunning. This is the franchise's first movie since 2019 Star Wars Rise of Skywalker.
It's a fantastic trailer. Here's an example of, a trailer doing what the trailer is supposed to do. It gives you a sense of what the film is about, and it makes you want to see that film.
Yes.
Okay. Now, having seen the trailer for One Battle After Another, have you seen that trailer?
I have.
Yeah. I sat there and said,
what am I looking at?
What's this movie about? Why do I want to see it? I don't. It did the complete opposite. So there's your contrast. One Battle After Another trailer. Go watch it on YouTube, and then go watch the Mandalorian and Guru trailer.
Yeah.
It's opposite ends of the spectrum.
Absolutely. This fits in right where The Mandalorian Season 3 ends when Din Djarin approaches the New Republic Ranger Captain Carson Teva with a request to work under the table for the New Republic. And of course, in the trailer, you see Sigourney Weaver looks like offering Din Djarin and Grogu a job, and they take out some AT-ATs, some big Empire kind of walkers that you saw in Empire Strikes Back. It looks absolutely amazing. Pedro Pascal, of course, is set to return as Din Djarin, of course, with the puppet Grogu. I love it. It looks like a lot of fun. So be on the lookout for the film as it hits the theaters May 22nd of next year, 2026, as we record.
I can't wait that long.
I know,
I
neither
want
can
to
I.
see it sooner.
I want to see it now, dang it. All right, Dave, this movie kind of came and went. I mentioned this a few months ago when my family went on summer vacation. We saw the first 7 minutes of Elio, which is Disney Pixar's new movie. It is now streaming. It started streaming earlier in the week. Far out family fun at home when Disney Pixar's Elio debuts on Disney Plus. You can see it now. A galaxy of great humor and heart awaits when Disney Pixar's animated adventure Elio hits Disney Plus. It's a space-based story of Elio Solis, who comes home to Earth based on screens everywhere, inviting families into the communiverse anytime they seek a sense of wonder. And journey into the imaginative alien-obsessed Elio as he makes first contact with extraterrestrials who mistake him for Earth's leader and share in the joy as he sees this lifelong dream come true. Now, this movie was kind of riddled with production issues early on where the script was kind of hacked and slashed, a new director, etc., etc. But like I said, I'll give it a shot. My family enjoyed the trailer. And I know this has a lot of different undertones. It may not be for everybody, but I will definitely be watching this before, I make it with the family, just to make sure everything's cool and kosher. So, yeah,
this film was a disappointment, I think, for Disney and Pixar.
Mm-hmm.
It's financially it's a loss. because the film I think grossed only like 155 or 160 million worldwide against a reported budget of 150 million plus marketing costs. And it was a very disappointing opening for this movie. So I'm not sure this film really resonated with audiences, but it did set a record as Pixar's lowest opening film for opening weekend in Pixar's history.
Yeah.
That's kind of a shame.
It really is, but once again, it's going to seek some new life in streaming. So let's see how it does.
And by the way, we've seen this in the past where sometimes a film doesn't do very well in its initial release, and then it gains a real following online.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or on DVD years ago. It used to be DVD and VHS, but some of these films have really picked up big audiences, and people have, really embraced the films over a number of years. So it'll be interesting to see if this has that kind of a long tail to it.
100%. Well, speaking of long tails, Dave, it's on. Camp Rock 3 is officially greenlit for Disney Plus and the Disney Channel. Jonas Brothers and Demi Lovato to executive produce and to return to guest star as Connect 3. Dave, this is kind of like the sequel that nobody saw coming, to be quite honest. I mean, it's been years since the initial Camp Rock with Demi Lovato and the Jonas Brothers. I remember when my company helped place guitars in that film, because I've been with my company now for 20 years. It's been a long time, Dave.
Wow.
But there you go. It's going to be on Disney branded television, confirmed. It's been greenlit with Demi and the Jonas Brothers. A new cast of stars are on the rise, including Leah Mangy Sarah from Descendants, Malachi Barton from Zombies. So they're kind of enlisting a lot of their talent from the different Disney Plus franchises to come in. So, and they're reprising their roles, so really good stuff there. So it's going to be directed by Veronica Rodriguez from The Slumber Party, and choreography. God, it's horrible. From Tim Federle from High School Musical, the series.
You starting to sound like me.
I know. I'm sorry, Dave. Sorry.
Butchering words.
Exactly. So be on the lookout for this. I believe this is going to be hitting next year. So be on the lookout for that. Good stuff. Also, the historic Vatican City concert, Grace for the World, is now streaming on Disney Plus. We talked about this, Dave.
Who's performing?
Okay. Pharrell Williams, the voices of the Fire Choir, Maestro Andrea Bocelli, John Legend, Jennifer Hudson, Carol G, Clips, Il Volo, Teddy Swims, Jelly Roll, Bam Bam, Angelique Kidjo, and more. That is an all-star studded cast of A-list performers for this. And it looks like over 253,000 people in St. Peter's Square was there in attendance when this first ever concert took place at the Vatican. Amazing, Dave.
That is amazing.
Absolutely amazing. So if you want to check out this historic moment with all of these A-lister performers, check it out. It is now streaming on Disney Plus. Dave, this story is great. Tim Curry reflects on 50 years of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, gives anyone permission to behave as badly as they want. This comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter. Dr. Frank Confurter himself took part in a special anniversary streaming at the Academy Museum with appearances by some of his co-stars. And I'm a big Tim Curry fan. It's great to see him up and about amidst all of his health issues over the past few years. But Barry Bostwick was there. Lou Adler, Patricia Quinn attended this event, cast of the original Rocky Horror Picture Show. Dave, 50 years. It's crazy to think, but it's time to do the time warp again. Good stuff.
It's really hard to believe. I mean, it's been 50 years. I actually remember this coming out into the theaters.
Oh, okay.
And those midnight shows starting up, and I may have gone to one midnight show probably 45 or 46 years ago. And this is um, the longest playing film in theater in history.
Amazing, right?
It is just constantly out in the art house and independent theaters.
Yes.
There's midnight shows happening on weekends somewhere in the country.
Yeah.
And it's a cultural phenomenon. And yeah, Tim Curry, who had a stroke a number of years ago and is confined to a wheelchair, is out and about promoting and talking about this. By the way, the film was produced by Lou Adler.
Yeah, right.
Lou Adler pops up in all kinds of like counterculture stuff. He's been around a long, long time. I think he was involved with a number of films, including Easy Rider with Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda and Jack Nicholson. He's a friend of Jack Nicholson's. And by the way, little known fact. So, Tim Curry developed the role at a theater in London. And Lou Adler saw it and immediately booked them and brought it to Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And then after that, there was they put together doing the film. And do you know that the film, they were looking to recast some people?
Yeah.
And do you know that Mick Jagger wanted to play Dr. Frankenfurter?
I had no idea. That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy, But the original director of the stage show directed the film and wanted to keep the original cast and crew, as many of people as he possibly could, together.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
See, I know Lou Adler from the music portion of all this.
Yeah, well, he was big with concert promoting, right?
Absolutely, he did that.
Yeah.
And he worked with Sam Cooke and Herb Alpert and Mamas and the Papas and so many people around that area. Monterey International Pop Festival, which he co-produced, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, so he's a monster at that. And then to be brought into this film and then also do the Rocky Horror follow-up Shock Treatment, which a lot of people don't know about. Was also amazing. So, I may have mentioned this before, but I started attending midnight screenings when I was in high school.
Really?
And part of that, of course, was being kind of brought in as, just as a newbie. I'm not going to say what I'm going to, what actually happens inside the theater, but it is absolutely raucous and crazy. And then I was actually part of a college production of it, playing Meatloaf. Playing Eddie, the pizzeria driver. So of course, Asian guy who's playing Meatloaf, the big Asian guy.
There you go.
So it's fun stuff, and it's great to see Tim Curry up and about. A lot of fond memories about the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's still a lot of fun to this day.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot of anniversary screenings around the country and stuff like that. So I think it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Obituary roll call.
All right, this is the part. Now, last week, I think we were just inundated with a lot of happenings and passings. But this week, let's talk about this. Hallmark movie star 35 died because Vegas restaurant staff halted CPR during medical emergency, and there's a lawsuit happening. And this happened reported earlier in the week. Hallmark star Mike Heslin died during his birthday trip to Vegas after restaurant staffers allegedly blocked CPR from being performed during his medical emergency, a new lawsuit claims. Heslin's husband, Scotty Dynamo, claimed in a filing that staffers at the hotel allowed an avoidable tragedy through multiple failures not to provide emergency care obtained by documents. He was only 35.
What restaurant was it?
This was Javier's at the Aria Hotel.
Boy, don't go there.
Don't go there. No. Dynamo claimed in the suit filed September 18th that the Lioness actor had exhibited obvious signs of medical emergency, but the restaurant staff did not do anything to help and even forcibly interfered with a nearby diner who attempted to perform CPR. And of course, the defibrillator was there, but they didn't use it. for whatever reason. So this lawsuit is ongoing. And so this is, an alleged happening that happened, but there's a lawsuit pending for it. This comes to us from Page Six. So please check that out. And that is so sad, though. He was 35 years old, man.
It's crazy.
Crazy stuff. Well, gang, thank you so much for sticking out with us, sticking through this news. And now we're into our main event. Let's welcome for the last part, Dave. It's the last part, yes? Of Bill Kroyer. Yeah,
Bill Kroyer. We're wrapping up Bill Kroyer month.
Absolutely. Enjoy this interview with Bill Kroyer right here on Skull Rock Podcast.
Hey, let's chat.
Let's chat.
So let's chat now.
Let's chat afterwards. And he said, let's chat again.
Skull Rock Podcast. Interview time.
Well, Aljon, we are back for a 6th week with Bill Kroyer, the animator, producer, the director, the storyteller, the professor, and yes, folks, the author. Bill is the author of a brand new book called Mr. In-Between, My Life in the Middle of the Animation Revolution. Bill, welcome back to the Skull Rock Podcast.
It's great to be back. Half a dozen. This is amazing.
I know. It's absolutely fantastic.
Before we get started, I have to say something.
Yeah, do it.
We've had this huge series with you, Bill, on the show, and I have to say that, I have my own career. I am just a fan of the films that you've done, as well as, so many of our guests over time. But listening to you speak, and maybe it's the instructor in you, I don't know what it is, but it's like I'm listening to a TED Talk. And I absolutely love it. I subscribe to TED Talks. I get the TED Talk daily, and I get to sit in with one of the most brilliant minds making films, had made films, and continues to teach to this day. And I feel like I'm getting a master class with you, Bill. So thank you so much for sharing that knowledge with us.
Well, thank you, Aljon. That's nice of you to say. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Good stuff.
And with that, Bill, I dovetail off of what Aljon said, because it's just been a great conversation we've been having over the weeks, and I know our listeners are going to get a lot out of this. But I want to ask you, how did the book come about? Did you decide I'm going to retire and write a book? How did the book bubble up for you?
Well, I did retire, and as you know, I moved to Wisconsin. We have a really nice place here now, and for the first time in 45 years, we started to have winter. And in winter, you're not out doing as much. And my wife just said, you really have so many stories about what you've done. You should just go upstairs, on these wintry days and sit there and start writing them down. And she really was the force behind me, coming up here and just starting to write. And I have to say it was it wasn't so much cathartic, but it was kind of a bit of a revelation in itself, because as I did, I started to realize that I did occupy kind of a unique place in this transitional period of animation from the old world to the new world. I mean, when I came to Hollywood in 75, it was the old world. Computers were not on the horizon. All the old stars were still there. Chuck Jones, Walter Lantz, those guys were all around. Frailing, the Nine Old Men, they were all there. And we were still drawing, and we were still literally sitting at their feet learning. And then all of a sudden along came the computer. And again, by sheer happenstance, I happened to be right there at the birth of it all, and right in the beginning and some of the most, seminal moments of it. And I realized my life and my experience could be an informative thing to people, because number one, I didn't want to have that get lost. I didn't want what the business was like and what the people were like to get lost as it went along. So unlike a history book that's dates and names and statistics, mine was a record of experiences. Well, how did it feel to know these people and to be with them? And how did it feel to be an animator and to draw? And then how did it feel to have to start getting invaded by these tools and having to learn the tools? And, what was it like? And that emerged as I thought, a pretty good narrative.
Well, I mean, it's 56 chapters in 300 pages. I mean, there's a lot of stories in there. Now, I'm imagining you told us some of the stories, but not everything, right? So that our listeners really should go out and get your book. To
Well, that's true. There's a lot, and there's
yeah,
so much stuff, and I also think that and I tried to tell them with a certain kind of care, that everybody would understand what was going on with the context and everything. But yeah, I was kind of, and there's of course more that I didn't put in the book, but it's, I know people that have read it have told me that they say every chapter is like like an adventure, It's
yeah.
when they have endings, and cliffhangers, and like any story, it has its tragedies and its difficulties. And I also thought that would be a good thing, especially for young animators to know, is that nothing ever came easy. Nothing ever goes smoothly. There's terrible surprises, terrible failures. You have things that go wrong, and you just have to find a way to pick up and keep going. And life is full of surprises, and it's just a matter of keeping at it.
And it is an interesting business, because you say there's ups and downs and failures and stuff like that. There's also, when you put a lot of very talented artists together, there's also friction. There's rivalries. Whether they're conscious or subconscious rivalries going on. There's people that just don't like one another, don't want to work with one another. It goes on and on. It's like taking every A student in art class from across the nation and putting them all in one room, and they're all vying to be on top in some respects, and I'm sure part of that is part of the narrative you're talking about in your book.
Yeah, and I think that the hardest thing about my whole career, and I'm not sure I've ever said this before, and I didn't say it in the book, was there's a certain struggle to being around so many people that were more talented than I was. I mean, at Disney, who was in my room? I got Brad Bird, John Musker, and Henry Selick. I mean, for God's sake, how do you compete with that? I mean, at the time, we were all young and we all felt that anything was possible, and it was. I don't think any of us ever felt that. But, I always kind of had these suspicions because, I was just around so many super talented people as my life went on. In a way, I think that's not a bad lesson either for young animators, is that you may never be the superstar in the room, but you can contribute and you can do things that are good. And a lot of times, you can't even judge the value of what you're doing at the time. And it's not up to you to judge the value at the time. Chuck Jones had that famous saying. He said that he felt animator was a gift. He called it a gift word. He said, you can't just say you're an animator. He says, other people have to bestow that upon you when they look at your work and they say, yes, you are an animator. And I've always felt that in a way, that little truism from Chuck applies to your career in itself. You do your best, do what you can, and you hope that people at the end of the day find some value and entertainment in it. And I have to say, audiences can be generous, they can find pleasure in a great variety of work. It's well, look at those people I just mentioned. We've all made films and all the films have a distinctive look, and audiences have found something to like in every one of them. So that's a good thing.
And the people you just mentioned, Henry and Brad and John and yourself, I mean, that was the rat's nest in the building back in the late 70s, early 80s. And yeah, look at that group of people from that one room and look at all the films that you guys have made. I mean, that's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, when you talk about conflict, the rat's nest got its name from the conflict with Don Bluth. And
Yeah.
Don Bluth had a philosophy of animation of he wanted to have us reuse scenes and follow rotoscope and everything. And we were just against that because we felt, we'd grown up worshiping the old guys, and an animator was supposed to create their own animated scene. As I've said before, everybody brings their own unique vision. You don't want to be tied down to somebody else's idea of how the scene should play. You want to be given a brief and say, I want the character to get this across, and then you come up with a way to do it. That was so important to us, that to be given a stack of rotos and said, just work over that, we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It became this huge fight. And then, of course, Don left and took his group with him. And they, I don't know how much of that they did in the room, but ironically, just last night on Facebook, I saw they posted an over-under shot of the sword fight in the Vikings between Tony Curtis and Kirk Douglas with the sword fight in Secret of Nim.
Yeah.
It's identical.
Yeah, I've seen a number of those comparisons with animated films over the years, and it is, pretty surprising, actually.
That was what we were against. At the end of the day, I often said there's no technique or technology that is inherently evil in itself. So if you can use something like that and come up with a product that the audience reacts to, well, I guess go ahead. But I have to say that was one of those cases where it was so deeply philosophically against what we felt animation should be
Yeah.
that we just had to take that stand. It's funny because, I right after the Rat's Nest, the blow up, I actually left Disney, as you know, and went to Lisberger,
Yeah, yeah,
do Animal Olympics, and had a blast because Animal Olympics was, man, that was the totally opposite of rotoscope. I mean,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was the cartooniest thing ever done, and it was what animation was supposed to be, in my opinion. It was just funny, cartoony stuff, and the very fact we had to rip through that film so fast, you couldn't double think anything, you couldn't overthink anything.
yeah.
You just kind of go with your gut instinct, which most of the time is the right way to go. So
So when you decided to write this book, how long did it take you?
it took me 2 winters to write the entire draft. And then ironically, the third winter I went back to edit it because I felt it was too long and I felt, I wanted it to, get it more concise. And here's the interesting thing, when I started to write it, the reason was Sue said, you got to put this stuff down on paper before you forget it because you're getting older. When I went back into it 2 years later to edit, I'm looking at some of these things and I'm going, oh my God, could this be true? Did we really do it that way? I mean, I found that, just being so immersed in today with the way technology works and watching things happen, to relive the primitive simplicity of how we started, which at the time when I was writing it, that's the way I thought about it forever. And so I put it down that way. But to go back to it and look at it again, go, oh my gosh, you know, I think if I wrote it today, I'd have to think twice whether I was actually saying the correct thing. It is the correct thing. Everything in my book is totally as I remember it, and and people who have been around, they agree with that. But I just found it interesting that you know, wow, this is what a thing to live through. So anyway, it took me 3 years, to get a pass. And then I have a good friend here in Wisconsin, Patrick McGilligan, and he's written a dozen great books on film. He was a former editor of the Hollywood Reporter. And I asked him to read the manuscript, and I said, "Would you look at this and tell me if you think there's anything here?" And he did. And he was, he's also an editor for the Wisconsin Press, and he really liked it. And it was really encouraging to me that he liked it, and he helped me a lot. He said he gave me some pointers on how to you know, clean it up and make it a little more entertaining. And I did that. And then I was lucky enough. I sent it to several publishers. They all wanted it, but I went with Taylor and Francis because, as you know, they're kind of the animation, group.
Yeah.
A lot of our friends have gone with them, and now it'll be there forever in their catalog, which I think is nice because, look, authors want immortality, right? So I think that as the years go by, I'd like to think my book will be kind of an interesting touchstone for people because I don't think there's anything quite like it. A first person
Well,
description of what it was like to go through that age, to go through that period and the peculiar people and the stresses on us and the industry. I think it's an interesting journey.
well, it's a historical record, and it is something that will is part of the human record, and hopefully your publisher put a copy into the Library of Congress. because that's where all of these books should be for future generations to access.
Yeah, if you got it in there before they fired the head of the Library of Congress.
Yeah, now there's probably a committee
There's nothing
that's
objectionable.
deciding which books should go in.
Can children read this book? I don't know. Yeah. There's nothing in the book
Put
that.
here, put this one on the burn pile, you know. uh, but having written this book, how are you feeling about how it's performing, and are you interested in doing another book?
I haven't gotten Taylor and Francis only gives you publishing records every 6 months, so I'm due like in the beginning of August to get my first one. So I don't know. I mean, will say I've had a lot of interviews and a lot of people,
Yeah.
a lot of great response. So in that respect, it's been gratifying. Would I want to do another one? I'm not sure. I mean, I kind of said everything I had to say about my professional career. I had uh, a lot of more personal experiences along the way that in a theory, I actually thought of doing in between the in-betweens, kind of book. I don't know. I mean, and I also had a couple of ideas about some fiction books that I thought might be kind of fun to write. But I don't know. I mean, I'll have to see. I have to admit, I hate to tell you, but I really like being retired. I like kicking back.
No, I hear you on that, but I'm curious if you've ever given any thought to doing a sort of behind the scenes of a Fern Gully, and have a chock full of art and material that you might have in your own collection.
Actually, the guys that now own the rights to Fern Gully, these guys at the Shot Factory, have actually, they're talking to me about doing exactly that, doing an art of Fern Gully. We never did an art of Fern Gully. And
I
you're
think that'd be
exactly right.
awesome.
Yeah, because
I
we had Ralph Eggleston and Vicki Jensen, and
Yeah.
Tony Philly, and we have all these people, and I have a lot of that artwork, and I think it'd be, and you're right, it not only looks beautiful, but there's a lot of fun stories behind that. And people still like that movie. I don't know if you had a chance to see our digital remastering that we just did last year. I mean, it just looks gorgeous in 4K.
Where's it available, Bill? Is it available on one
Just
of the streaming
Amazon.
services?
Yeah, well, you can, yeah, you can stream it, but you can also order. The Blu-ray is pretty nice to have,
Hmm.
So the Blu-ray, it looks great because then you get the real color that we mastered on it.
Yeah.
But I just had a screening in town here just a few weeks ago as a benefit for this historical site that I work at, and it looked really great on the big screen. I mean, what's great about it is that when you get used to CG, the very nature of three-dimensional environments, there's a reality to them, right? Because they exist as a 3D environment. Ferngully is paintings. The backgrounds are paintings. There's like 900 paintings, and they're
Right.
they're gorgeous. And you subliminally look at them and they convey to you a dimensional world, but they do it with the old-fashioned way with art. And I know people that see it now, it's almost like a refreshing thing to watch, because it's 2D animation against paintings. And how many times are we going to see that again? So anyway, if people get
Never,
a chance,
never say never. But
yeah.
I listen. I think it's great that at least there's some conversations happening, because I think with the distance you have from the film, the time that's passed, putting together a behind the scenes of how that movie got made and stepping it through the production process and showing the art, all of the beautiful art that was associated with that movie. I think that would be a real treat for people. It really would be. And again, another historical record.
Well, thank you very much. I think it could be if I have the energy to do that. It will be it would probably be that. I'll give
Well,
you. I need
you got a lot more winters ahead of
have all
you.
these winters coming up. But the other thing I did that you're gonna I don't know if I told you this, but I've always loved model trains, and
Mhm.
I've carried around my model trains when I was a little kid. I've carried around for 60 years in boxes, and I would occasionally take them out of and set them up. If people who visited my office on Sunset Boulevard when I did Tech Threat, I had some trains set up in the back storage room because I never had any room to put them. So anyway, that's the other thing I did the last 4 years here is I built this gigantic 27-foot model train set, and that's done.
Wow. Wow.
So now you're right. Next winter, I'm going to be looking for a new project. So maybe that's the one. So there,
Yeah, but Bill, I would argue a train set is never done. You're going to go down and look at it one day, and you're going to say, I need to add a spur over here, and take it off into a new area, and you're going to have a whole new project to build.
well, I have referred to it as the first pass. And I don't know if I told you this, but it's a biographical train set.
No, tell us
It,
about it.
it's the whole thing. It's a coast to coast. It starts in New York Harbor. It ends at the Santa Monica Pier, and it goes across the whole landscape of America. And everything in it are things from my life, like brownstones in Chicago, my food co-op, our house here, dairy farm down the road. You got the mountains and the snow. You got the desert. You got Orange County with Chapman. You got Hollywood Boulevard, Disney Studio. I mean, the
Wow.
brownstone, the little adobe suite I lived in West Hollywood, our house in Burbank, it's all there on the train set. It's almost kind of a weird Dorian Gray kind of thing. But it's a very animatory thing, because as you know, Walt Disney and Ward Kimball and all these guys, Pete Docter, we're all really into this whole train thing. And when you're an animator, you're a world builder. When you make
Yeah.
every animated film, you have to build a world for that thing. And I just happened to find a way to express myself with this. So, and it wasn't just a train, it became a story. It
Yeah.
became
Yeah.
a original world building story, which I found to be kind of satisfying. So,
Well, there's a book in that.
well, gonna, I'm gonna take some posters in the next few pictures in the next few weeks and probably post them. So keep your eye open on
Oh,
Facebook.
okay, cool. So, the book is available wherever you get your books. I always like to
Or if you
encourage,
go to my website,
yeah.
mrinbetween.org, if you go to that, there's a QR code and you get a discount.
Okay. So they can get a discount if they go to your website, but it's also available anywhere people get books. And
Amazon, yep, it's anywhere you want. And the other thing,
yeah,
but the other great thing about my website is I have all these extras on the website. I have extra stories. I have the films that you hear about in the book are on the website. So you can watch the titles to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Christmas Vacation. You can watch Technological Threat. You can see behind the scenes stuff from Fern Gully. I have a lot of extra photos. I have development art from the films. So the website is a lot of fun. It's a great companion for the book. So
and
I
that's mrinbetween.org.
That's correct. All
Uh,
lowercase.
all lowercase, all one word.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's
Uh, and also, I always like to say, aside from getting it at your website and getting the QR code for a discount, people can find it. I know it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Noble, it's available wherever you buy your books. I always encourage people, if you have a local bookstore in your community, they can order it in and you can get it from your local bookstore. So go support your local independent bookstore out there, because they're a vanishing breed. uh
I kind of recommend the paperback
mhm.
because the paperback, if you look behind me, you can see that it has this cool picture of me on it.
Yeah.
Uh, whereas the hardcover, weirdly enough, does not have the picture on it. The hardcover is really an archive book. So the hardcover, you don't get the picture of me. So I would,
Yeah.
and of course,
Okay.
ebook has everything too. And the ebook is, in my old age, I read a lot of ebooks because they're self-lit, You don't have to have a reading light. You can just sit and read it. So the ebook is a lot of fun too. It's got everything in it. So, you
And you
know,
can also adjust the size of the font.
you can adjust size of the font, which is a nice feature, and take
Yes.
it with you, and there you go. So don't forget the ebook discount is also on the website.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Bill, I think we're wrapping things up. It's just been an absolute pleasure talking with you over the last 6 weeks. What parting wisdom do you have for our listeners, especially those who are just sort of breaking into the business?
Well, I guess, like I kind of said last time, a lot of it is seek your own satisfaction, develop your own craft and really enjoy what you do yourself. It's nice if you have enough self-criticism to work hard to become really good at what you're doing. At the end of the day, though, that's the thing, is you want to be satisfied and enjoy what you're doing yourself. And like I said before, I think in the modern market, I think you have to look a little more online for a career now than I think it's a little tougher to get a brick and mortar job, but there seems to be a lot out there. So I guess to the young artists, those are the two things I would say.
And maybe add in they need to become more thick-skinned.
Well, that's always been the case.
Yeah.
I mean, we always had, believe me, we've all had those things happen. I had, I don't think I even mentioned the book, but I had times in my commercial days when I had to redraw entire commercials. They made me redraw the entire thing because they felt that I had done it wrong or it wasn't what they asked for, And so you're going to get those situations, it's just going to happen.
Or you'll
Yeah.
have
At
a
least
design.
one
Yeah.
tiny funny story was I did this commercial called Buick 7 and 8, where Buick was going to retire their V8 engine and do a V6 engine. And so they were having a farewell party for the two pistons. And so I animated these two pistons and I had carburetors and fuel pumps and everything all in the crowd. And they invited it was one shot and they invite the Pistons up on the podium, and there's a guy up there, and he's saying, "Hey, let's say goodbye to these guys." And I animate. It took me weeks to animate it, and we shot the pencil test and showed it to the client. And the client looked at it and he goes, I like everything about this, but you know what? I just want it to be a higher angle. This is
Ah,
2D. I mean,
ah,
see, in CG, it takes 1 second, right? I had
yeah,
to go back and redraw the entire commercial from a higher perspective, if you can imagine that.
ah.
The craziest thing. So, I don't know what message that is for everybody. I guess appreciates CG or
Well,
just get rid.
but what that's saying is you have to be thick-skinned and be prepared for the whims of a client or the whims of a director you're working for who decides they want something different. And, even though you may be super proud of something you did and think it's the best you've ever done, somebody may say, yeah, that's nice, but that's not really what I want. I want you to do something different. And you got to be able to go off and do it. There's the famous story of, Ward Kimball doing the soup eating sequence in Snow White, and it's anybody who's seen it because it's been a bonus feature on DVDs and stuff knows it's absolutely fantastic. It's hilarious. It's beautifully animated. But when Walt said it's not moving the story along and cut it, that crushed Ward Kimball. I mean, he almost left the studio, right? So
Oh,
you have to be thick-skinned in this business, and that's what I'm most fearful of with this younger generation who's used to just showing up and getting a trophy and getting the A on their project and moved along, and there's never any criticism or resistance. You've got to be thick-skinned.
one saying that I heard years ago that I now realize I never put in the book was that animation is an art industry. And there's a hyphen in there. And that's the difference. If you're a fine artist, you do what you want and then you go out and you try to sell it, but it's still your stuff. But animation, you have to deal with the fact that it's usually a business where you have clients and you have budgets and you have delivery schedules and everything, and you have to deal with that too. So that's the part of the industry part is usually the hardest part for the artist to deal with, but it's very hard to get that hyphen out of the way.
Well, Bill, these are all words of wisdom from a lifetime of incredible, incredible work that you've done. I just want our listeners to know that Aljon will put the link in our show notes for mrinbetween.org so you could get a discount QR code for Bill's book, Mr. In Between, My Life in the Middle of the Animation Revolution from CRC Press, Taylor and Francis, the Taylor and Francis group. Bill, it's been an absolute pleasure. I almost feel like I want to just continue this conversation and do 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and just keep talking.
I don't know what I'm going to do without you guys. You've become such a part of my life here.
Well, you know something, it really has been a pleasure having you on the show. I look forward to talking with you again. I know we're going to talk to you again in the future. I actually, was talking with some other directors, and I really want to bring a small group of people together and do a roundtable discussion on animation, feature animation, and the type of films that are coming out today. And, is the marketplace too crowded? Are things looking, are things blending together? What are the issues that we can have a conversation about? So maybe we'll do that in the near future.
Okay. Well, that would be fun. All right.
So thank you.
Thanks again. It was great to talk to you guys. All right.
Thanks for being on the Skull Rock Podcast, Bill. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Skull Rock Podcast is now on Patreon. Dive deeper into the world of animation, films, and behind-the-scenes stories with your hosts, Aljon Go and Dave Bossert. Not only will you be helping to keep the magic alive, but you will be part of our special community with ad-free episodes. We want to thank friend of the show, Joshua Volkert, as well as Skull Rock crew members, Steve Minch and Chris Banis, for their support. If you would like to join our Skull Rock crew, please visit our Patreon link in our show notes or visit patreon.com/Skull Rock Podcast. Thank you for listening and for your continued support of everything we do.
Hey gang, it's time once again for yet another Disney travel deal, and this for Disney Visa card members, where you can save up to 30% on select days of 5 or more nights this winter. You can escape to a tropical oasis with this offer at Aulani. You can stay in an ocean or partial ocean view room or villa, saving 30% on stays of 5 or more consecutive nights. You can save 25% on stays of 4 consecutive nights, or 20 to 25% on 4 or 5 consecutive night stays on all other view types. It's for most nights January 4th of 2026 to April 9th of 2026 as well. And so this is an awesome deal. And once again, want to go ahead and take advantage of this by contacting my wife, Kristen. She will hook you up. She's got years and years of experience booking Disney trips. And not only that, but also cruise line, any cruise line, Adventures by Disney, Universal Resort. She can do that for you. Save you time and money. Email her for your free quote today. That's Kristen, Kristen, at magicaljourneysvacations.com.
Skull Rock Podcast, where you hear the stories behind the adventures.
Let's get out of here!
Come on, Scotty, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here, Lieutenant.
All right, Dave. Wow. Another one in the can, and Mr. In-Between himself, Bill Kroyer, wrapping things up here on an epic month at Skull Rock.
And just a great interview. I really highly recommend people to check out his book, Mr. In-Between. It's available wherever you buy your books. There's a link in our show notes for it. It's absolutely a fantastic book, so check that out.
Absolutely. And gang, thank you so much for being part of this show. We certainly appreciate it. It's our joy to bring you this show every single week. And if you love this Disney and pop culture show, please subscribe everywhere you find podcasts. You can even check us out on all the socials, and we're on YouTube. Yes. So it's your choice. We provide these choices for you. So check us out. We're on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Instagram, Blue Sky. Tell everybody about our show. You can even check out our vault. There are a bunch of shows over the past 5 years as we celebrate.
Hundreds.
Hundreds of shows. Right there at skullrockpodcast.com. You can also email us, Dave or Aljon, at skullrockpodcast.com, and we'll read your emails in an upcoming program. Thank you to everybody that does that. You can also check me out on Instagram, Aljon Go, Aljon Rocks on X. I'm there posting stuff about adopting cats, about adopting children, and about playing guitar, and of course this podcast, which is great. You can also check out my other podcasts there, Dining at Disney, where we launch a new show every single week talking about the theme parks as well as dining reviews and what's going on in the terms of Disney food. And also send a shout out to our friends at Source Radio at srsounds.com. All Disney music all day long. Dave?
Well, as always, you can hear me on the Tunes Behind the Tunes on Sirius XM Disney Hits, Channel 133. All during September, we're featuring the song Miracles of Molecules from Disneyland's Adventure Through Inner Space attraction. I just love doing the Sirius XM show.
I love it.
It's really a lot of fun.
Yes.
And I hope people are catching that on Sirius XM. Also, you can go to the oldbillpress.com. You can check out some of my books there. You can get copies of my books signed by me, including my latest book, Find Your Happy Place, the 8-Step Guide to Boosting Your Creativity Through a Personal Retreat, winner of gold medal at the Fire Book Awards in Texas. And it just won Distinguished Favorite at the New York City, the NYC Big Book Awards 2025. So it took second place. So I'm happy about that, I have to tell you, in the well-being category.
Nice.
So, and of course, you know, my House of the Future book is out there doing very well. I'm getting comments from people periodically on that. So check out all my books at the Old Bill Press or at davidbossert.com. And with that, Aljon, I'm just going to say, be kind to one another. Go out and have a fantastic week. We love you all. We love you for listening to our show every week. Go out and have a fantastic week, and we'll see you back here next Monday, right here on the Skull Rock Podcast.